Good morning, Jennifer, Kayla. Nice to meet you. It's really nice to have you here with me and chatting about like the coding for climate challenge. So much to talk about. I have so many questions, but before we get started, I would love to that you could introduce yourself.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Thanks for having us today. We're so excited to share about coding for climate and our work at Take Action Global. Kayla and I are pleased to be here representing our global community. So my name is Jennifer Williams. I'm joining from Florida in the United States. I'm one of the executive directors and co-founders of Take Action Global, and really excited to be here with Kayla. Hi, Kayla.
Hello, my name is Kayla, and I am the Marketing and Communications Director at Take Action Global. So I'm deeply involved in all of our programs on the promotional front, working with partners, helping to develop materials to hand out to our community, and just overall supporting our community educators. So very excited to kind of dive into our Coding for Climate program.
Wonderful. Well, let's do that. Let's dive in. What was the inspirations from all the work that you've been doing? What was the element that drove the organization to go in this direction?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is something that we have been wanting to do for a while. So we have a number of people on our internal team that have interest in computer science, ed tech. We have a community that has been joining in online spaces. So kind of by default, we have an interest in these topics. We are, as an organization, having a mission of climate education for all. So we have a number of global projects that we work on throughout the year. Most people know us for our Climate Action Project. That's where we're inviting classrooms to come together for 6 weeks. We have another project that's around the global goals. But for a while, we've said we have this community really interested in innovation and creating a lot of our classrooms across the curriculum, engaging in ed tech and computer science. So it's something we really wanted to do. And last year in 2024, it was our first year of testing it out. So we were going to put it out there, see how the response was. And we ended up having nearly 4,000 classrooms join. It was fantastic. We had so much fun. It was a super flexible project. And so we said this was something we definitely wanted to keep. And we have new friends joining in, like Endless this year. So we are just getting started on our 2025 Coding for Climate project. It actually kicked off yesterday. So we can't wait to see what classrooms create.
Amazing. I guess, so going from what you just shared, so last year was the first time, and what were the learnings from that now you are, like, what changes are happening now this year? Like, what are you doing differently?
So it's really interesting with our community because it's quite large and diverse. So we're looking at coding for climate across the curriculum. So it's not just in computer science classrooms. It's not just with high school students in one country. So we have classrooms that are joining as young as age 5 all the way up through university. So we have all ages. We have all subject areas. So we have art teachers, we have tech teachers, librarians, PE coaches. So definitely across the curriculum. And then we have a lot of different experiences and backgrounds with computer science. So we have some classrooms that are integrating computer science every day. Like, that is the work that they're doing. For some of our teachers, this is the first time. And so they're having students lead the way. They're able to create. So I think one of the biggest things for us was flexibility and making sure that the project was structured in a way where teachers could jump in. And we have some classrooms that are joining in different parts of the world that are on a different schedule. Some are joining and they're right in the middle of testing season, or maybe they have holidays. So there's a lot happening in the spring. So we leave a 6-week period, and the project's about 3 weeks. So teachers can really make it their own.
That's pretty amazing. So you were talking about right now flexibility, because it sounds like the first year you opened this up to anybody who would join. So is it a safe assumption that you got a lot of people from North America participating? But what were the surprises? Like, in that can kind of like that let and inform a little bit more like new countries or regions that this year might probably play a more important role in the challenge.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting for us. So we are, as a nonprofit organization, we started global. So we have representation in over 170 countries. And we have some classrooms that have 3-to-1 with devices. And so they are well outfitted with their hardware, their software, their time. We have some classrooms that are in very remote forests. And so they might not have access to Wi-Fi, to hardware. So they're using teacher cell phones. And so maybe teachers are out, and when they're in with connectivity, they're downloading and they're bringing that out to students. So we have a lot of different options for solutioning. We have some great friends that have created some content with playbooks that can guide teachers into different activities. We even have an unplugged coding activity. So with our project, you don't even need to have technology. You can do it just with hands-on learning. So that was a big learning for us, I think. In addition to having the project be flexible, making sure we have the solution options have flexibility as well.
That sounds amazing. It really does sound amazing, especially like there's so much happening and so many, like all the types of classrooms and educators they're participating. And because every classroom is so unique, and like the mix of students and the teacher or the educator. Thinking about like the climate is like there are so many topics to choose from. How did you arrive to like these key themes?
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Kayla and I have been working on this just today because we're in phase 1 of the project. So we broke the project into phases. Phase 1, we start right with the environment. So a lot of times I think people come to projects like coding for climate and they think the first thing we're going to do is jump into coding. But we're actually having students do research. They're having discussions. They're working with local environments, talking to experts to establish their environmental cause that they're going to work on first. So phase 1, and this is where our students are going to select their environmental topic. I have a couple listed here. So we break it into 4 leagues. We gamify it with leagues. And so some of our classrooms are going to select their environmental topic as a class. Some are going to have students select individually, and some might pick a few or create their own. So a couple of the big areas. First is water, which if any of our classrooms select a water topic, that might be water scarcity, drought, water pollution, then they're going to go into what we call the Water League. And that's a group that they can work with other global classrooms who are approaching this topic of water. We also have an energy league. So some classrooms are really interested in solar energy, wind energy, efficiency. This is a big topic we found. Ocean, which is close to our hearts here at Take Action Global. We have a lot of people living near oceans, so we're focused on plastic pollution, conservation, marine ecosystems, and then last is land. So Land League brings conversations around biodiversity, air pollution, deforestation. We have a lot of classrooms working on tree planting initiatives. So they're using what they're doing in the classroom and bringing it into these online environments, which is really cool to see.
That's amazing. So, I can just so many places to go there with all the themes that you've selected for this. I guess my question right now would be from last year and this year is how have you seen this challenge help with real life problems? It's like how has that inspired students and also probably educators to rethink the solutions for what's happening in the world?
Right. Well, I think for us, we know that climate change is constantly evolving. We are, as a world, encountering this as one. So everyone has some sort of impact with climate change, which also gives us the opportunity for everyone to have their own type of climate action. And so this is one form of climate action. We see classrooms with all of our programs that are responding in a way that makes sense to them. So climate action can be small. Climate action can be loud, or it can be quiet. It can be personal. It can be local. It can be global. I mean, there's so many different examples that we see. We have classrooms that are creating art installations. They're doing storytelling, which I know for both of you, Rodrigo and Kayla, this is your career in storytelling. They're finding ways to tell stories of people that are impacted by climate change. They're doing science experiments, inventions, advocacy campaigns. So these coding solutions are just adding into this beautiful repertoire and a portfolio, really, of student action through climate. And we have so many classrooms that with really cool examples of ways that they have taken this project and really surprised us. So that's how we design with inquiry in mind, because we know that there's definitely not one size fits all program for these classrooms. We want to turn it over to them, let them create in any way that makes sense to them.
I think what spoke to me there is it's so true. This part of like it was kind of like part of the previous section is like, so each classroom is so unique and totally like each problem. Like I think you can see it in the micro view of things. It's like just like local things that students can see in their communities versus like what they see in the news, which is like possibly like what's happening in the world. Like probably. Right. They see icebergs melting and probably they're not so close to it in their communities, but like there's a correlation that can start to happen there, which I think is very powerful. So I think this one is obvious, but like I just want to go with this question. So there's a lot of learning that happens for students participating. But what would you say, and Kayla, I don't know if, whoever wants to go with this one is, but like, what do you say are like the key benefits of students participating in the challenge? And second, like educators, what are the benefits for educators here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously there's coding skills that can be gained, but I think beyond coding skills, students can gain numerous benefits. So obviously there's like critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration skills, and then you're having these interactions that you don't normally have through virtual exchange with, classrooms across the globe. I know that when I was growing up, I didn't have those kind of opportunities. So just being able to have that just at the base, and then on top of that, learning about environmental issues, gaining a sense of agency, and also kind of developing that passion for sustainability, all kind of encompassed together. And then I also think they're building, confidence, creativity, and communication skills, just interacting with all these different classrooms. So I think there's a lot of power behind it, just beyond, just coding for climate, just what's in the title. So Jen, you have a lot more you can say on this, but I think just at the very base, like those are just a lot of things they gain just beyond, learning to code.
The theme there is kind of, the big picture is future ready skills, right? It's kind of like critical thinking, collaboration. So I think the part about confidence and being able to communicate and be part of like a global community, I think that's a very important element, because actually it really helps students to make those connections about the world and those different things that are happening somewhere else. For educators, what are the benefits? Like, why? I can see as an educator thinking like, well, this is a way that I'm going to be able to motivate my students to participate and do something. But what are other benefits that educators are getting out of the challenge and just in general connecting with the organization?
Do you want to share, Kayla? You want me to jump in?
I can let you jump on that one. Yeah, that'd be great.
So I think for us, what we're seeing with our educators, so what we're asking them to do, we're asking them to actually do a number of different things. First off, they're working in an online space. For some of our teachers, that is really new for them. And so they're pushing past their comfort zone themselves. I mean, they're definitely asking their students to do that with some of these new challenges, but they're meeting with people who may live and look differently from them. So they're getting new perspectives. We're all one community of teachers, but they're finding out that school can look very different, but they're coming together on commonalities around this topic of climate. And so they're able to have that as an entry point. We can create all of these different anchors. So when they have teacher to teacher conversation, student to student conversation, they're going in with something that they can already discuss. And then that establishes those first connections. So by working through environmental topics and then moving to that, as Kayla was saying, project-based learning and problem solving as they're going through that coding challenge, they're really able to intentionally start to work through these lessons and activities. So I think what we're doing with Coding for Climate is we're just building on the work they're already doing in their classrooms. So we are having our teachers look at process. So how can they bring a process that they can sit on the side of their students and work as facilitators? So our teachers with the project don't have to have all the answers. In fact, we want them to not have the answers. We want to turn it over to the kids and let them figure it out. So a process with research, with planning, with execution. We're going to, Kayla mentioned, something so important about this project is creativity. So students can get in, they can use all of these different tools. They're able to select characters and clothing and themes. And so we're getting into a lot of these wonderful areas of learning that is knowledge construction. So it's not going to be just taking a test to figure out about climate change. They're actually going to be creating those solutions in real time. And I think finally, what we're hearing from teachers is that they're able to see their students create and present to an authentic audience, which I think for us is the most powerful part of all of the work. They're creating their solutions maybe within the walls of their school, but then they're able to share those out. So like right now, as our project's beginning for 2025, we have all of those student created solutions from last year that our classrooms are able to look at and take inspiration from. So if they're like, I'm not sure about the environmental topic I want to select this year, they can look at all of those other classrooms and what they created before. So this is new for a lot of us as teachers. This isn't the way, like when I went through my pre-service teacher training, this isn't the way I was taught. And so we're able to figure it out together. It's fun. We get to be creative as teachers as well, which is always great. And we're constantly learning and evolving. As we mentioned, this project is alive, it is moving, it is dynamic. So we get to hear from teachers and they can make it their own.
I get very excited. At the same time, I just immediately went back to my history class, and what was advanced back then was like I was recording something using a VHS.
Wow, right? Yeah.
But right now, it's like, oh, I wish I had that before.
It would have been amazing. Cool, right? I know.
Yeah, totally. So you were talking about last year's examples, and it happened. Do you share some of the stories of the winners of last year's? I think what I'm going to go here is how can a project from the challenge can actually help with climate change? So that would be kind of where I want to go with this question.
Right. So impact, right, is really what we're looking at here. And we're looking at impact in a couple of different ways. So we kind of sit in the middle of climate action education. We're sitting in the middle of action. And with a project like Coding for Climate, we're inspiring and hoping to inspire classrooms to take action for impact on the climate side. So we want to protect our planet and for now and for the future, and then also impact on the education side. So we want to transform the teaching and learning experience. And I mean, we have so many examples of classrooms that have done such cool things beyond the coding. The coding itself is really superb. So the impact that those coding solutions have and the games that they're making have created. So at the end of our project, we have a special event. So we're leading up to Earth Day, and we have our friends at earthday.org. So we do a live event, and we invite all of the classrooms who participated to join in, to watch, to share about their solutions. We have a couple of classrooms that share live, and then we have responses from some of the organizations that have actually built the coding solution. So like you at Endless, you all helped us create the Make Code Arcade playbook. And so this year you all will be with us and responding to classrooms that used Make Code. So we had, I know one classroom that presented last year, which they had a really cool story of impact. It was Pine Tree Junior High School, and they were looking at deforestation. So they're in Texas, and they had snowstorms, not typical in Texas. And so they had a lot of loss of trees. And so they were able to focus their project on deforestation, reforestation. And then they decided they wanted to go from what they did with game design, then extend that project out to have a tree planting initiative. So they wanted to have the trees planted out in the local community. So they partnered with a bank that needed some new trees, that lost trees. They did outreach to get the trees funded. They were actually even covered a few months later by the news, the local media, which is great. So storytelling. And when I watched the students sharing, they were talking about that they had never done yard work before. They had never had their hands in dirt, which was like, wow, this is life changing. And you start to understand the power of your hands, your brain, your creativity, but then actually creating something that now they'll be able to drive by that bank and see those trees grow. So small impact, in the big scheme of things, but huge impact for those students and that community.
Absolutely. Oof. That's a very powerful story. Thank you so much
Isn't
for
it fun?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. So now I'm very excited to learn about the winners and all the stories that are going to come up this year after the challenge. So I guess I'm going to go with the promo version, which is kind of like, how can educators, how can organizations participate?
Great. Well, we have a team that's been working on that. Kayla, you want to share about ways classrooms can get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of as we talked about, I think we've designed Coding for Climate to be as accessible as possible. So you can just jump straight on the Coding for Climate website. There's an easy form to just fill out, and you can jump right in. As Jen said, we just kicked off yesterday, so we're just starting phase 1. So throughout the actual Coding for Climate program, there's a wealth of resources, lessons, adaptable project ideas that you can use, through actual coding online, or like Jen said, kind of an offline mode, and then just like step-by-step guides. We try and make things really easy. There's online workshops, training sessions, just to kind of equip educators with the knowledge and confidence to integrate this challenge into their existing curriculum. So we really want to make it easy for them to just dive right in without really having any prior knowledge or experience. So so schools can just kind of formally register their participation and then get access to the platform. And then we also have a community forum, so educators can ask questions, share what they're doing with other teachers, connect with peers around the world. So we're just kind of committed to that. And then obviously Take Action Global is committed to just providing ongoing support and guidance. We have such a great team that's just kind of all focused towards our central goal and just ensuring that every educator and student has a, rewarding experience and is actually, taking something back to the community from this.
Absolutely. I have no doubt. And one of the things I want to bring back from from what Jen was talking about was like this thing about like having the leagues, like being part of like that gamified version of the challenge. That also sounds pretty cool. So wonderful. I think we covered most of the questions. So for everyone who's going to be watching this, we're going to be sharing the links to the website, through social media, to access all the resources that we analysts, but also other partners have put together to contribute to this amazing challenge. Everything is going to be available in the description of the YouTube link and also in our social media. And yeah, we're super excited that more and more people participate in it. Anything else from you, Jen or Kayla, that you want to share?
This is great, Rodrigo. I mean, I think our gratitude to you and your team. We are so happy to have Make Code Arcade covered by Endless this year. Your team has brilliant instructional designers, and you all understand the power of technology and coding and putting it in the hands of students. So we've learned so much from your team and can't wait to see it all in action.
All game making is just so powerful. It's a powerhouse of learning and teaching. So yeah, we definitely are super excited that some of the work that we're doing, is being used, and especially for an initiative like this one. So super proud as well, and happy to be here with you too.
We appreciate it. All right. Can't wait to see it all happen. Thanks so much.